Script blueprint presenting Casino Royale. This movie is the best James Bond film ever made. You can even call it a prequel to the entire James Bond series. That means it takes place before the first Bond film from 1962, Dr. No. The film shows how an organization called MI6, which has many agents, gets its head, a person called M, whose real name nobody knows. It shows how a man is given the title 007, how James Bond becomes part of this organization, and after joining, how he solves a very difficult case where his life is at risk again and again. The story begins with M, the boss of MI6, sending James Bond to one of her own agents. This agent is an assistant in MI6, but he is betraying the organization. When Bond meets him, the traitor says, "If M suspected me, she would have sent a 007 agent. As far as I know, you are not a 007 agent. To become one, you must kill two people." Actually, James Bond had already killed this traitor's partner in Lahore, Pakistan. And then Bond kills this traitor too. So Bond has now made 2 kills. He becomes qualified, and MI6 makes him the 007 agent, giving him a license to kill, meaning he can kill any criminal at any time. On the other side, in Uganda, a man named Mr. White introduces a man named Chiffre to an organization called the Lord's Resistance Army, which is against the government. The head of this organization gives Chiffre a lot of money. Chiffre says, "I don't want a share, I want profit." He asks, "Can I send this money to any country in the world?" The man says, "Yes, you can send it anywhere." Now Chiffre has this dangerous organization's money. Chiffre has worked with many terrorist groups before, earning a lot of money from their funds and also giving them back their profits. Terrorist groups have black money and are always watched by governments and secret agencies. Chiffre's job is to not only give this organization profit, but also to transfer money to whichever country their clients want. After taking the money, Chiffre calls his man and says, "Sell all shares of Skyfleet Airlines worth 50 million. The man warns that this could cause a loss because Skyfleet shares are about to rise a lot. But Chiffre says, "Do as I said." Meanwhile, James Bond is sent to Madagascar. He has to catch a bomb maker and interrogate him. But Bond kills the man and also blows up the building, which is an embassy. However, Bond recovers the dead man's mobile phone. There is a message on it with just one word, ellipsis. M is furious about Bond's actions because he was sent to catch the man and question him, not kill him. The news is already in the papers. M tells Bond, "We sent you to catch and interrogate him, not to kill him. Our organization does not kill small criminals. You were supposed to find out who funds these terrorist groups." Bond feels no regret. His nature is a little arrogant. He thinks whatever he does is absolutely right. And actually, it is true Bond is very sharp at his job. Bond leaves and examines the mobile. He traces the ellipsis message back to the Bahamas. He arrives at the exact location from which the message was sent to the bomb maker. Bond hacks the nearby CCTV cameras, checks the exact time the message was sent, and sees a man on the footage. This man is Alex Demetrius. Bond digs up more information and learns that Alex works for Chiffre. Bond goes to a club where Alex is playing poker. Bond joins the game. He wins all of Alex's money, his car, and even his wife. When Bond is at the hotel with Alex's wife, he learns that Alex suddenly left for Miami. Bond leaves the wife and follows Alex, because for Bond, his mission is everything. In Miami, Alex goes to an exhibition. He checks in a bag and gets a token numbered 53. He messages a man and places token number 53 on a table. Alex knows Bond is following him and attacks Bond with a knife. But controlling Bond with small weapons is almost impossible. Bond overpowers Alex, kills him, and takes his mobile. Alex had just messaged a man. Bond goes to the table where the token was kept, but it is gone. When he goes to collect the bag, it is also gone. Someone has already taken the token and the bag. Bond has no idea who did it. Bond then checks Alex's mobile and sees the last message sent, again ellipsis, just like on the bomb maker's phone. Bond realizes that the mission meant for the bomb maker in Madagascar has now been given to this new man. Bond calls the number from Alex's last message. Somewhere in the crowd, A phone rings. A man with Alex's bag answers. Before Bond can reach him, the man takes a taxi and flees. Bond follows him. He goes to airport. At the airport, the man wears a security uniform and enters through a coded door. Bond tries to open it but fails because it needs a password. Bond knows the man is going to blow something up inside the airport. Bond looks at Alex's mobile and sees a message that says, ellipsis. He uses this as the password and the door opens. Bond chases the man onto the runway. The man takes control of a truck that has a bomb. There is a huge airline company called Skyfleet that has built the world's largest airplane. They want to blast this plane so the company will be ruined and its shares will crash. This is why, at the start of the story, Le Chiffre sold all his Skyfleet shares, even though his man told him the company would be very profitable. Le Chiffre had used the money from the terrorist group in Uganda to short-sell the shares. His plan was that Skyfleet would be destroyed. But James Bond stops the bomb blast, kills the man, and saves the plane. Now Le Chiffre has a huge loss. He had invested all the Lord's Resistance Army's money. If he doesn't pay them back, they will kill him because they are extremely dangerous. M tells Bond that Le Chiffre, to recover his money, has arranged a high-stakes poker tournament at Casino Royale. 10 players will join. Each must bring $10 million. If someone loses, they can buy back in with $5 million more. So the total pot is $150 million. The winner takes it all. M tells Bond, "We are replacing one player with you so you can play. In our entire team, no one plays poker better than you." Bond asks, "Do I have to arrest Le Chiffre?" M says, "No, just beat him in the game. Then the people he owes money to will go after his life. We will then take him into our custody and get information on all his terrorist clients." She also tells Bond that Le Chiffre is a master of chess and numbers, and he uses that skill in poker, meaning he is a brilliant player who plays with his mind. Bond heads to Casino Royale. A woman named Vesper arrives there too. She is with Bond because the government is funding the operation. Vesper's job is to keep an eye on the game. The government deposits $10 million into Bond's account. If needed, they will give $5 million more, but it depends on Bond's performance. The game begins. 10 players sit with $10 million each. Le Chiffre wins some early hands, but when he has bad cards and is bluffing, his expressions change. He puts his hand on his head and taps. Bond picks up on this. In the first 4 hours, Le Chiffre wins a lot of money. During the break, Le Chiffre goes to his hotel room. There, the leader of the Lord's Resistance Army from Uganda confronts him, demanding his money back. He wants to kill Le Chiffre, but Le Chiffre promises to return a lot of money after the poker game. When the man leaves, he and his guard see Bond. They try to kill Bond, but Bond kills the guard instead. The game resumes. A critical hand comes. Bond has good cards. Le Chiffre's expression shows he might have nothing, yet he keeps raising. Bond thinks he is bluffing. Bond slowly pushes all his money in. When the cards are revealed, Le Chiffre has better cards and wins the huge pot. Now Bond is out of money. A 1-hour break is given. To rejoin, Bond needs $5 million. He goes to Vesper and asks to give money, but the government refuses to give more because they don't trust Bond's playing wisely. One of the remaining players, a man from the CIA, stops Bond. He says, "I am a CIA agent. I am also here for Le Chiffre. I will give you the money to keep playing. In return, after the game, you let the CIA arrest Le Chiffre." Bond asks, "What about the money?" The agent says, "Do you think the CIA needs money?" So Bond gets $5 million and re-enters the game. The game goes on for a long time. Another huge hand comes up. Everyone has good cards and all the money is in the pot. One by one, players show their cards. At the end, only Le Chiffre and Bond remain. Le Chiffre reveals his hand. A full house, 3 aces and 2 others. It is the best hand so far. Then Bond reveals his cards. A straight flush, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of spades. Bond wins the game. He beats Le Chiffre and wins $115 million. He tells the CIA agent, "Now he is yours." After the game, Bond and Vesper go for dinner. During dinner, Vesper gets a message from Mathis, a friend who has been with them. But Mathis is actually Lou Schiffer's man. Bond realizes this, but before he can act, Lou Schiffer's men kidnap him. Bond chases them in his car. On a deserted road, Lou Schiffer's men tie Vesper's hands and lay her in the middle of the road. To avoid hitting her, Bond swerves his car hard to the right, causing it to flip. Bond becomes unconscious. Now both Bond and Vesper are in Lou Schiffer's captivity. Lou Schiffer wants the password to the account holding the $115 million. He tortures Bond badly, but Bond does not give up the information. Then, the same Mr. White who introduced Lou Schiffer to the Lord's Resistance Army in Uganda arrives. Mr. White works for a very big organization that keeps its word. He kills Lou Schiffer on the spot for failing to return the money and breaking his promise. However, Mr. White spares Bond and Vesper. When Bond wakes up, he is in an MI6 hospital. Mathis is there too, not knowing that Bond has found out his truth. MI6 agents arrest Mathis. Vesper also arrives. She has started loving Bond, and Bond loves her deeply. They go on holiday to Venice. Bond sends his resignation to MI6, saying he no longer wants to be an agent. He wants to live a normal life with Vesper. One day in Venice, Vesper tells Bond she is going to the bank to withdraw money for expenses. While she is gone, M calls Bond. She says, "I got your resignation, we will talk later. But right now government officers are asking whether you will deposit the $115 million you won." Bond says, "The money will be deposited today." Then Bond gets suspicious of Vesper. He calls the Swiss banker responsible for the account. He says, "I'm having trouble withdrawing the money." The banker replies, "We transferred all the money into the account number you gave, and right now someone is withdrawing it in Venice." Bond understands that Vesper has betrayed him. She is taking the money from the bank. He searches for her and finds her with a bag of money. She meets two men and gives them the money. Bond arrives. The men see him, and they kidnap Vesper, taking her inside a large building. Bond follows. The entire building is on the water, kept afloat by floating devices. Bond opens fire, and the building starts sinking slowly. Bond kills all the men. Vesper is trapped inside a sinking elevator, her hands tied. She tells Bond, "Forgive me, James." Then she locks the elevator from inside, sinking with it. Bond dives into the water to save her. Inside, Vesper holds his hand and kisses it, but before he can free her, she dies. Thus Bond loses his love. Even though she betrayed him, he truly loved her. Mr. White escapes with the $115 million. He is the same man who killed Lou Schiffer and who gave Lou Schiffer the money in Uganda at the beginning. M calls Bond and says, "We need you back in MI6. Bond says, "Okay, I'll come soon. Anyway, my work here is done." He thinks of Vesper as a traitor, but M tells him the truth. That night when Lou Schiffer was killed, "Why do you think you were left alive?" Vesper made a deal with them. If they let you live, she would give them all the winning money. That's why they spared you. Otherwise, they would have killed you too. Now Bond discovers that Mr. White works for a huge organization that spreads terror worldwide. Bond checks Vesper's mobile phone and finds a message she left for him. It simply says, "Mr. White." Using this information, Bond tracks down Mr. White. He calls him to confirm. Mr. White answers, "Who is this?" Bond shoots him in the leg, walks up to him and says, "Bond, James Bond." And with this, the film and the story end right here. This movie was released in 2006. On IMDb, its rating is 8. It had a budget of $150 million and earned $606 million at the box office. I hope you liked this story. If you like this story, please subscribe to Script Blueprint.